Nah, you messing it up. I ain't gonna lie.
Well, my mama, this one. How's everybody week been? How's life been? How you living? How you grooving? What's going on? What's flowing? What's glowing?
Weekend, you mean week?
What did I say?
I said weekend.
How's your weeks off been?
It's been cool. It was very much appreciated.
How you doing over there, Alan?
Bro, I'm finna get some wireless
Straight
headphones.
vibing, straight vibing.
Straight vibing. How you doing over there, Amod? We haven't
I'm
Oh,
talked.
finna
it's
get
skinny yo.
wireless headphones.
That boy just a jack of all trades. How you doing, Amod? Speaking English, senor.
For Black American because um, I'm from recent African descent, right? My parents didn't come from Africa. My grandparents didn't come from Africa, and nor did their parents or their parents or their parents or their
Well, no, I'm
parents.
pretty sure. I'm pretty sure your grandparents. No, they didn't come from Africa. I thought. Nah, you got it. You got it.
Look at me. Look at me.
You
Look
got
at
it.
me.
You got it. You don't know
Look
because
at
I was
me.
thinking like I
He's
was
a
thinking
Native American.
I'm
your grandparent. Wait,
indigenous.
hold on, hold on.
I'm
Your great
indigenous.
grandparents. I'm
I'm
pretty sure they
indigenous.
parents came.
I'm
I'm pretty sure
indigenous.
they
I got a
parents.
question though. Like, at what
I'm
point did
indigenous.
we?
I'm indigenous.
You know what I'm saying? Like start from your grandparents and
And so
go
are
back.
you.
No,
His
listen.
grandparents.
Start from your grandparents and go
Are you
like
trying to
five
deny him his
generations back.
trying to deny him his culture?
I'm saying start from your
That's
grandparents and go
crazy.
like five generations back, and I promise they can.
Well, I was just wondering, like, what point? What point is it? Yeah. What
Well,
point?
it's pretty mixed. It's pretty mixed if you go that far.
I mean,
You'll have
everybody's
white.
pretty mixed, but I
You'll
think
have
I think it's.
I mean, everybody's
your
mixed
African
with
ancestry.
European.
But I'm
You
saying,
have
like,
your
in
Native
general,
American
like,
ancestry.
at
I
what
mean,
point was it cut off? Did we cut off like being African and becoming African American or black? Like, because when the slaves were first brought over here, they were African slaves. They weren't African American slaves. So
there were black people here
When
before.
they
With
got
no, but
they
I'm
no, I'm
saying
just
like
There were
saying
black
though.
people.
I'm pretty sure it became a thing though when
Black people were here before the slaves. I'm just saying. Okay,
yeah,
I mean, yeah,
but
that's
we don't have to
understood,
talk
but
about that. We
Native
don't have
but
to talk
American,
about that.
indigenous
I'm pretty
people.
sure it became a thing when like I don't know.
But like
I
most indigenous people were killed. I mean, a lot of
but
them
it's like a
lived.
lot. Well,
Race
I think when a
race
lot
did
of
not become a thing until slavery. Just I hope you
yeah, it wasn't.
We learned that
They
in
understand that.
history.
slavery was still a thing.
Hi, Miss
Well, no,
Ma, shake.
because slavery or indentured servitude still existed, but it just wasn't based on race. It was based on
Absolutely not. Yep.
And it
based
was
on
at a different
debts.
capacity than it was in
Class.
America.
It was based on class. It was based on debts, and it was
Yep.
based on war. War, yeah.
But
Yep.
nevertheless, so like black or African American, you're saying like, so why not African American or why not
Um,
black?
I think America to try to impose this idea that we're I think they're trying to deny us of our true identities and as they always do, try to create some facade and try to tell us who we really aren't, like how we really are the um, foundational uh, Americans. We built this country. We, we haven't, we've never been to Africa.
I'm new to Africa.
Um,
yeah, I was finna say
we've never experienced the life of a sub-Saharan African. So why should we receive the title of an
Because
African? We experience two different cultures.
I was finna say. So you think you feel like it's a
but
cultural thing?
I don't think I feel like I feel like American or black people, I feel like our situation is different than like from other people. Like it'd be different like we migrate over here and like develop our own different culture. But I
Right.
feel like we can still get the title simply because I mean, of course our culture is different, but that's because we had to develop our own culture. But I mean our culture is still has a lot of deep bases in African culture. I mean, there's a lot of things that you see, whether it's between
Sure.
teachings, where you whether you've been seeing parenting and upbringings and raising. Like, there's a lot more similarities. I mean, you can see that in social media now. You can go to like African TikTok and you see them living their lives in like certain African countries. So, because like I don't like how people just broadly speak on Africa, which is a whole continent. But when you see certain African countries, you can see that the people tend to have more there's a lot of similarities, cultural similarities, and also with music, there's a lot of cultural similarities. You have the new
No
thing
doubt.
from
No doubt.
Afro beats, and then like original drums and stuff were all derived from Africa. So I feel like there's more cultural like connections, and then since in America we black people were stripped, or African slaves and indigenous people who are already here were stripped of their culture and stripped of their culture and like religions that they had when they were brought over here. So they had to fill and develop their own. I feel like is not a problem to
And
have.
that culture we've developed is a Black American culture. Not, I mean, but you also have to realize that in other countries, people of African descent aren't referred to as people of African descent as they are in America. They're referred to as just a darker tone of people of their country, like in Latin American countries.
But I mean, you can be, but then they're like, but like, think about like someone who's like, their parents are from Mexico, but they're born in America. So technically they're Mexican American. But I mean, they've never lived in Mexico either. So what's the difference with that than it is with African American?
Those are
I guess
nationalities,
because they
man. Those
had
are not.
well, if
I
their
don't.
parents came
Mexican's not an ethnicity; it's a
to
nationality.
mm,
Well, Hispanic American then.
yeah, or Latin American.
But I mean, African's not a. I mean,
That's what they are.
African's
Then
a nationality
that's
ish.
what they are. Then
Why is it not the same with African Americans?
But Hispanic is such like a broader thing though, because they don't just come from one continent.
I don't know. I feel like
Like
it's
when you
different.
think of, I'm saying when you think of when you say African, when you say African American, you think of just like the general area of Africa.
I feel like me
and
But
that's the
personally.
then
thing.
when you
That's what
say
I'm trying to
Hispanic, I'm
convey.
saying
And
when you
not
hate
all.
when you
That's what I'm trying to convey. Not all Black people in America have their ancestral lineage in Africa. Okay, not
got you.
for some hundreds, and not for probably some thousands of years.
I
But
think it's too deep to like
I
divulge,
can't talk about
and
that right
then
now.
you gotta figure out where each
Yeah,
person,
it's
either
like you can't.
you as a government gotta figure out where they from, or they gotta figure out where they're from, and then you gotta
I think
represent
it's
each of
quite
those
easy to
cultures.
know where you're from.
No, but
You
then
just have to do
Mm,
it yourself.
you gotta
No, it's
represent
not.
each of those cultures
It's
into
hard.
your.
You don't have to. You don't. It's up to you. You don't have to represent anything, dude.
No, like the government has to represent it, or people gonna be like, you're not representing us. You're not for our people. You're not for our group.
but then again, trying to track your bloodline. That's not like always accurate. It's not always accurate research anyway.
It's not easy.
It,
Like,
it's
And I
not a
wonder
hundred.
why.
It's not 100%
I
accurate
why.
though.
no, I mean we know why, but that's like simply why we have to be African American. I mean we know why, because of like white control over like
So
our history
why
and
do we have to why do we have to be something that some other culture tells us that we are?
who is other cultures and what are they telling us that we are.
So what are we gonna do about it then? Like what are we gonna change about it?
I mean, me personally prefer black over the term African American because
But
well,
I'm
I had this
saying
conversation with my mother, and
they
my
was
mother, when I spoke about it, my mother thought it was me. She thought it was me, like disconnecting myself from said African heritage. But I was
Wait, who were you talking to?
talking to my mother. But I
And
was
who suggested that you were disconnecting yourself from
my mother.
your?
She thought I was speaking on well because I don't know. I said something I guess that rubbed her the wrong way, and she thought I was saying as if like uh I'm not, as if I'm not acknowledging like my African like descent, or like I guess my heritage and descent.
Like
Because we go to this
you
shop
were
called
disowning
Pan
it.
Africa Connections, and like they have a lot of
I
like
think it's
art that comes from the motherland. And but she
uh
thought me, not me just saying like black over African American, but I was saying, I guess like understanding more of like why we buy stuff from this store
African is
and
too
stuff like
broad, dude. There are so many different cultures,
I mean, yeah,
and
I know that, but I'm just speaking in general because I mean,
if we're gonna acknowledge where we came from, I think we should acknowledge a specific, um,
I did a DNA
location.
test and they have a potential on like where you could be, but it was like four different countries where you could be from. It was like Ivory Coast and like
Cause
Ghana or something else. And I feel like the
I was gonna
understanding.
say,
I mean, we all know why it's not possible to reach that, but like most people don't have access to reach. I think there's a new thing though. I saw on like TikTok. I mean, I don't know. I ain't researched it yet, but it was like an African ancestry that's supposed to give you like deeper results. But then like I felt bad that I did ancestry because now like the government has my spit DNA, but that's neither here nor there. But I mean, like I don't know. I feel like we don't have those. I don't like generalizing Africa as a continent because of course there's smaller countries within. I mean, there's countries within because it's a continent. That's how continents work or whatever. But I feel like when you
The
don't,
largest continent.
huh?
I said it's the largest continent.
Exactly. And when you don't know, all I can speak is Africa because I don't know specific lineage. So I mean, I don't know what you want me to
exactly.
do. I know my ancestors descended from Africa. I don't know exactly which countries because when they were brought over here, there's no documentation on where they were coming from and the lives that they lived because all of their history was taken from them. So I mean, I don't know.
Exactly. Well, you said you did ancestry.
Yeah,
Do you feel like that was decently accurate, or you just feel like it was all
I
like,
mean, it
you know what I'm
was as
saying?
accurate as I know is accurate. I mean, for all I know, they go in there and spin a wheel and say this is where you're from. But I mean, it's as accurate. I mean, because I mean, my sisters did it too, and we had similar lineage, so I guess there's some form of accuracy to it. Because it's all based off of like people who live there now, and like people who, or I guess I assume that's how it's based off like people who live there now, like their DNA connections, and then like I guess features and stuff. But I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
African culture, well, certain African countries culture, I mean, is shows up in everything America. Anyways, like nose rings come from Africa. I don't know what part of Africa, so I'm gonna just say Africa. Nose rings, those rings that stretch out your ears come from Africa. The same similar like all the jewelry and stuff that you see in Black Panther. That's like ancient Africa, like representation of like the jewelry and just arts and stuff that come from there. So I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Like I get what you're saying. Like, well, Africa's a continent, and well, we're not specific enough. I don't mean like we don't have the ability to do so. But I know I'm not. I know my ancestors don't descend from Europe specifically. So I don't know. That's all I can tell you. Where's my mom's?
Anybody
Uh,
else has any thoughts?
I think we're about somewhere with
um,
this topic. So, which I got, black or African American? What title do you prefer? I prefer black personally, and that's not
Black.
denouncing my African descent. That's just what we currently
It's just
are.
more broad. Represents me more like as a whole than a specific point because I don't know that specific point. So I feel black is the my heritage more than anything else because I don't know what my specific heritage is.
all right. Yeah, I say black too. At first, when like the topic was first, when the topic
The
was first
Negroid
proposed,
race.
when it was first brought up, at first I was contemplating it a little bit because I was like, you know what I'm saying, like we do come from Africa, but like I do realize that we can't necessarily pinpoint like you know what I'm saying, the necessary areas or countries in Africa. So I guess due to it not being exactly specific, I'm gonna say black.
Alan, what'd you say?
I'm gonna say black.
But I mean, black is also trash because that's the title that the white man gave us.
That's why I was finna
Uh,
when y'all was talking about it.
yeah.
I was thinking in my head. I was saying like you saying like the white man. They just said we was from Africa too when they brought us over here because they just kind of took us. But then I was like, weren't they calling us blacks too? So it's like we didn't really come up with our own names. We just kind of took it
Well,
and just went with it.
that's why I think we should be referred to as foundational Black Americans.
Foundational.
That's a long title
Yes,
though.
because we built the country then.
Can you shrink that
Well,
down a little more? It's
we
very
didn't
wordy.
know our ancestors did,
No, no,
FBA.
but
we didn't.
But
yeah,
next
FBA,
like
topic.
yeah.
we didn't directly like us in terms of generational. We didn't directly build the country.
Yes. Yes, we did.
No,
We're currently building it right now. All the trends and shit. We're
Uh,
setting those trends. We're
but
building
trends ain't building the country though.
trends. Do in fact
Trends
build
is
it country.
no trends
Yeah,
are
they do. You
trends
know,
are
a bunch of
contributing to a culture.
the policies, the legislation that are passed
no, we're talking about
are
physical
all
building.
are based. Huh?
We're talking about physical building.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like I thought you were talking about like
Because
actual
now Hispanics are building the
I'm
country.
talking about the structural. I'm talking about both of those things.
You
Yeah.
talking about society though. It's like you talking about social matters.
Hey, say this for late night talks. I love it. Next topic. Where we at? But physically, Hispanics are building it now. I guess. I mean, there's black construction workers.
Okay.
But I mean,
Okay.
you go to a construction site.
Okay.
Let's be real.
Nah,
You go
that's
to
Yeah,
you
crazy.
go
you're
to a
not wrong,
construction
but you
site.
ain't
Be
have to
real.
say
What are
it.
you gonna
Okay.
see? It's Hispanics.
Okay.
You're not completely wrong, but
Immigrant
dang.
hustle is crazy. Next
And
topic.
and they're and they're more my
I
lives. Yeah.